Hey guys, Anders here with another video. Today we're going to go over the test server update for the week. We have the new Elvia mechanic, which means we can now enter Elvia regardless of what channel you're on. There will be a new UI element in the top right of your screen. It does seem to take some time for you to transfer over, so if you do get attacked, you are unable to switch, basically negating any possibility of using this as a quick escape. I'm guessing in the event of PvP death, you can't also use this function on channels that have active node wars or sieges. Skill point changes are also live on the test server. You now only need 1,000 skill points to spec Succession or Awakening. There's also a new skill called Strength Improvement that increases your weight capacity up to 150 LT more. By using 500 skill points, you get 120 LT, and then for the last 30 LT, you need 1,000 skill points. In total, you will need 2,500 skill points to have all your skills and the maximum amount of LT increase. I think they could have made the LT capacity a little bit higher, but we'll see if they change that in the future. Another change is the automatic acquirement of skills if you are under level 55. The trait effects of some skills, like I'm assuming the ultimate versions of pre-awakening skills, are not automatically unlocked and will still need skill points. BSR skills have also changed for awakening. 50%, 25%, and even 10% BSR skills, when used, now will give you 30 AP and 25% attack speed increase. As a result, some classes had those BSR effects changed to other increases like crit or DP, making sure they do not double stack on AP increases. Slow iframes have supposedly been fixed when you're slowed or when you transition from SA to iframe, which happens a lot. We'll see if this is actually fixed when it comes to live. It would be really good if it did get fixed. Now there are a lot of balance changes. It took me a long time to get all these done. Not necessarily significant for every single class in the game, and not every class Succession or Awakening got changes outside of maybe bug fixes for some, but these did take me, again, a long time to translate, so bear with me. If I missed something, just let me know in the comments. Now with that said, let's start with Succession Warrior. Plus 10 second DP effect for self and allies, and a plus 5 second DP block effect duration for the guard effect in Succession. The DP effect will now refresh on use if you use Scars of Dusk. Plus 1 hit in PvP for Hilt Strike. The increased range for BSR Slashing of the Dead. Increased range for BSR Merciless. Increased range for BSR Pulverize. For Ranger, they removed the DP buff for Elven Rage. The knockback CC is only on the first hit now in the Black Spirit version of Waltz of Wind. They added a 20-second additional duration to the no stamina use effect. This is also for the Succession and Awakening versions. The plus 15 DP effect was added to Spirit's Haven. They added a Succession variant of this skill that is now usable on CD with increased movement distance, which is nice. They have a minus 50 stamina consumption on the Succession Call from Sky. Charge time has been reduced for Prime Charging Wind. Minus 25% movement speed debuff has been added for Evasive Landing Shot. The HP recovery is now 2.5% per second instead of a hard HP number for Succession Berserker Prime Unstoppable Beast, which is crazy good. Description added to specify differences to crouch shots for rooting. They changed the damage of shooting mobility to link with Flame Buster. They also added an accuracy plus 15% buff for 3 seconds, which is insane. For Tamer, they now stack Hylang's aura with Hylang Berserk and Awakening and the Absorb Hylang. So the aura will stack with the Hylang Absorb, and if you're an Awakening, your E-buff will also stack with your Absorb Hylang. The distance has been increased for Absolute Flash movement. SA on CD has been removed on Succession Tree Climb for the Summon Hylang skill, so they reduce the damage taken while you're riding the Hylang. CCs will no longer dismount you. You can now also autopath while riding Hylang. They improved the animations while you're riding the mount, and also Hylang HP has been increased by 20%. For Hylang Void Lightning, they have 3 more hits and can now use evasion while mounted. For Hylang Whiplash, they added 1 more hit. For Hylang Throat Burn, they added 2 more hits. For Hylang Lightning of Earth, they added 2 more hits. Fearful Trembling Hylang version is now 2 more hits added as well. Hylang Upward Claw has 1 additional hit on the first attack, 2 additional hits on the second attack, and its CD has been reduced by 3 seconds. Highland Roaring has a 1 hit added, and for Awakening you have a new skill called Cloud Ride. You no longer have the RMB charge attack from Cloud Stomping. The attack range has been increased for Garuda. The attack range has been increased for Ascension, and they added a burn DOT. All-Around Spinner now has a 40 HP recovery effect added. Soaring Strike now has a 20 DP buff added. Intimidation has a minus 10 DP debuff added. Moonlight Strike has a minus 10% movement speed debuff added. For Sorceress, Shadow Riot is a new skill that has been added. It's unavailable during CD, but gives you frontal guard. The Rabam Scarecrow Nightmare has been completely revamped. The Succession version of Turn Black Slash is now no longer a bound. It is a floating CC instead. The Succession version of Shadow Eruption has 25% crit in PvP added. Rushing Crow in Succession now has a bound CC in PvE only, but has SA on the entire animation. Succession Beat Kick has 2 hits added. Abyssal Flame is completely revamped. It has increased damage, unavailable during CD, a faster charge time, 50% crit added, attack range has been increased, and SA has been added as well, and stiffness CC on hits also added. It also generates 2 shards. Succession Ultimate Shadow Eruption can now be used after the 3rd hit of Claws of Darkness and after Dark Flame. The knockback CC in Awakening has been removed from Nightmare. Instead, it's a stiffness CC that's been added. Turn Back Slash in Awakening has increased attack range. For Musa, Crust Crusher in Succession is no longer a knockdown CC in PvP. It's a PvE only CC. It now has frontal guard in the entire animation. Its CD has been reduced by 6 seconds, and it has 1 hit added. The SA duration of Black Spirit Fiery Angel in Awakening is now the same as the non-BSR version. That's pretty much it for Musa. For Maehwa Succession, we have a new blooming variant added in Red Blade form. It basically gives you an iframe while moving backwards into an SA attack. We have a new Stub Arrow skill added that creates 3 arrows when you use Stub Arrow. The CD has been removed from Charged Stub Arrow, and the stun CC has also been removed. Instead, you have stiffness CC added. The frontal guard of Absolute Backstep Slash has been removed. In exchange, Arrow Grapple is now a frontal guard when you use it, and its stun CC has been removed as well. It's also a W plus E input and no longer needs to be linked with another skill. The Retaliation Stance, your Q block in Pre-Awakening, now has a 20 DP buff added, which is nice. Red Moon in the Red Blade form has minus 1 hit on attack. Its last hit damage has been increased, and Shield Shred has been added on the first hit as well. Now for Valkyrie, Succession Bound CC has been added in PvP for Divine Power, 2-second CD extension, and 16 hits added on the extra attack. Judgment of Light has been split into 3 different skills that work similarly to Shield Chase, so you can use the first one, then another skill, then the second one, then another skill, and if you want, the last one as well. They all have separate cooldowns as well. In Awakening, Valkyrie movement distance has been increased for the basic attack. The floating CC applied is now only on the first hit of the 10% BSR skill. Kunoichi for Lunatic Discus, the frontal guard has been removed. Its damage has been decreased, and it has a 3-second lowered CD reduction. Animation speed has been increased to compensate. Half Moon Slash can now be activated from Pre-Awakening if you lock Shadow Slash. You can now have Lethal Spin Spree activated from Pre-Awakening via a quick slot. Chain Crash has a frontal guard added, and a stun CC is now PvE only. Now for Witch, the teleport will now work the same as Wizard in Succession. The SA for Succession Magical Evasion has been removed. Protected Area and Speed Spell and the Awakening E-Bus for both Wizard and Witch all have new animations to show you the effect of the area. Mana Absorption now has additionally 6 more targets. A minus 5-second CD reduction can be activated with space after skills. And Prime Fireball Explosion Focus has a new animation that makes it melee range. Lightning Storm Combo has a new animation that also makes it melee range. A frontal guard has been added. A vacuum has been added in PvE. Stiffness CC is now PvE only, and a down attack has also been added, and a new input Shift C can be used to use the skill. For Blizzard, a T3 add-on has been added. They also did a new animation for Domain to a melee attack. It's no longer a summon. It's a frontal guard as well, plus 50% crit rate added, minus 20-second CD reduction, and 11 more hits have also been added on that skill. For Witch Awakening, they have Thunderstorm having 2 more hits added. The Barrage of Lightning now deals the same amount of damage in both forms, whether you're doing a backward attack or a normal attack. Keeper Tet and Keeper Gore now have larger attack radiuses on their attacks, and RMB after certain skills will attack nearby enemies. They also perform Stiffness CC from these RMB attacks. For Wizards specifically, they have same elemental attacks will reduce elemental skill CD by 0.5 seconds per skill activation. For Striker Succession, Stiffness CC has been added to Knee Hammer in PvP. In Wolf's Hunger, the SA has been added to the start of the skill, making it completely protected. Adamantine has Stun CC now only in PvE. Battlecry and Awakening now has an SRMB input added. Crosswind description has been changed to include 2+ Martial Spirits. For Mystic, the cooldown has been removed for Prey Hunt. And Infinite Fortitude has 2 additional seconds of PA effect. Dragon's Rip also has a debuff of 9% accuracy that has been added to the skill. For Lahn, there are a lot of changes. Succession and Awakening now have +4 AP added to the buff of Dismemberment, -20 DP debuff added to Succession Bleeding Hearts, +50% crit rate added to Succession Crescent Barrage. Also more hits have been added. Blooming Nether Flower in Succession now has 25% crit rate added in PvE. Cymbidium in Succession now has more hits added. Blade Dance now has more hits added in Succession. In Awakening, 40 HP more recovery has been added on Mangler hits. 25 HP more recovery has been added on Deadly Dance hits. 55 HP more recovery has been added on Dancing with Death hits. 20 HP recovery has been added on Binding Chain hits. They removed HP recovery on Flailing Blades. They added 20 HP more recovery on Furor. And that's pretty much it for Lahn. For Archer, SA and Breath effects have been added on the attack of Windraiser. They have a skill revamp that now activates a 60-second buff that allows you to deal extra attacks after any crossbow skill for the duration of that effect. They also have Light Smart completely changed. It's a damage increase now. It puts you in stealth for 10 seconds after the first activation. It can fire as many arrows as you want during the stealth animation, and you will appear on the shot and then disappear back again. Shai got some good changes as well. You can now have all rank 3 of talent skills. Careful now affects you as well as allies. Play Dead now has the iframe effect on description corrected, so it's 4 seconds, and it has a -2 minutes CD reduction as well. Come out visible effect has been added for whenever you actually hit something. For Guardian, you have Frigid Wind movement distance increase for Succession. Rock Slide now has lower stamina cost on the first 2 ranks. Movement distance has been increased on rank 1 to be on par with rank 2. Movement distance of rank 3 has also increased, and a new input has been added of Shift Space. Foretold Encounter has a -1 second CD reduction. Scornful Slash has more hits added as well. Hashashin now has a stun CC added to Sand Tornado Rabam. SA on gaps before attack has also been added, and in Awakening, the Collapse floating CC is now only on the first hit. Nova now has damage increased and animation changes to Binding Star, which is the Rabam. DP buff has been removed from the absolute version, maintained on the Succession version. -30 second CD reduction on Guard, +20 AP buff has been added on the skill, and +5% crit damage buff has also been added. For Fuse Gravity and Awakening, a -9 second CD reduction, +2.5% breath recovery has also been added. For Combust Life, -2 minute 30 second CD reduction is only a 30-second cooldown now. 500 HP is consumed on use, +15% starch breath recovery added. It consumes 500 HP in Excel mode on use as well. SA for 10 seconds after use is also active. Excel Star's Call has FG removed and Knockdown CC has been added in PvP. Fletcher, Starfall, Brutal Ring, Comet now generate 0.5% Star's Breath on hits. Frozen Ring, Swooping Ring, and Remise now generate 1% Star's Breath on hits as well. Slicing Ring effect changed to recover 10% Star's Breath on use. Frozen Ring has +25% crit rate added, -2 second CD reduction. Swooping Ring +50% crit rate has been added. Remise has a -2 second CD reduction. Fletcher has a 1 second CD reduction. Star's Call has more damage in PvP. For Sage, Ator's Illusion has more damage. Piercing Thorn has 3 hits added and animation has been improved. Energized Thorn has 2 hits added and can now link with Rift Chain. Prime Overdrive no longer gets consumed at 10 stacks. The CD reduction effect is 3 seconds now instead of what I believe it was 5 seconds. Rift Chain in Succession has 1 second added to the SA buff at the end of the skill. Succession Illusion Expansion debuff has been removed and a 20 AP buff has been added instead. Illusion Barrier, the Q block in Pre-Awakening AP buff has been removed, and instead a 20 DP buff on use has been added. Ato's mark in succession has movement improvements. Finishing touch, air smash has been removed. Down attack has been added. In Awakening, bolt animation is now the same as when used in the overcharged state. Upsurge has a 10% down attack damage buff added. Radiant Annihilation has improved animation links. Lightning Prison has more damage. Split crit rates on attacks instead of 100% throughout the entire skill. Impaling Flash can now appear behind enemy when you hold shift. Enlightenment Bolt, more damage in PvP. Improved animation links. Rift Storm, RMB activates the last hit of the skill. Shock Relay, stiffness CC added on hit. Divine Executioner, iframe added while airborne. Now Corsair has a new flow skill added to Jetstream called Whirlpool. LMB now cancels diving state and attacks when you use Jetstream, and also now restores stamina. Your Heirloom of the Crow passive now has guard gauge debuff effect added to all prime succession skills. Your BSR Seastroll skill now also heals yourself. Wave Blast has frontal guard added to the entire animation, and a new animation has also been added. Pearl Blast, another bomb, now has super armor to the last hit. Attack 1 is a stiffness CC in PvE only. Attack 2 is a floating CC range projectile. Succession Storm Surge is a floating CC now in PvE only. Succession Whirling Slash is SA added throughout the entire animation. Spiral of Dream is a 15-second CD reduction. Iframe has been removed, but it is super armor throughout the entire animation, and stamina consumption has also been removed. Spiral Soak SA added through the entire animation. Whirlpool Flow has been removed, and the effect is now always applied. In Awakening, Ocean's Allure knockback CC effect has been added to the Mist effect. Labao on deck now activates at 50% HP and has an additional 300 HP recovery added. Charge in Awakening has 14% more damage in PvP. Sunshielder Petrarca can now be linked with Wave Skedaddle. Ceasefire now has 6% more PvP damage. Windpiercer Petrarca has 3% more PvP damage. Pirate's Life for Me now has an extra attack that is now ranged and 5% more PvP damage. Mareka Swing can now be activated with S and E input in Awakening. And for Drakania, minus 100 stamina consumption for Dragon Walk and Refraction, so less stamina usage on those. BSR of the 200% now restores up to 100% HP through Mark Thunen's Heart passive. The names of Dragon Blood and Hexblood types of skills for your Awakening have been completely changed. Now Hexblood is called Land Roving Witch, and Dragon Blood is Sky Soaring Dragon. Your Legacy skill has been completely changed. It now has a 5 additional attack speed increase for the Hexblood form, as it used to be called, and the DP buff for the Dragon Blood form seems to be gone as well. Mark Thunen's Heart now applies to Awakening Drakania skills. So the Dragon Blood version of Savage Decree will give you 10% regen. Doombringer or Aerial Burst will give you 30% HP regen. Dragon Sundering War, your big skill, it gives you 50% HP regen. Your 100% Tectonic Slam BSR now gives you 50% regen. And your 200% Doombringer skill BSR now gives you 100% HP regeneration. Dragon Blood Sundering Roar hitbox has been improved. You can now use Mark Thunen's scale from the quick slot in Awakening Stance as well as Azure Onslaught. Aerial Burst can now cancel Dragon Walk and Refraction, especially good for Refraction so you can eliminate any gaps. And finally, Stormpiercer, the Hexblood version, now moves you forward whenever you link it with other Hexblood skills. So those were a lot of changes, like I said, but outside of class balance, we also had Atoraxxion Changes. You no longer need the Talibra tier to enter, which means the questline has been modified, so you don't need to craft it. When you are inside, the keys are now much easier to craft, requiring half the materials than before. You can also go through the dungeon on your own with new mechanics to let you complete the puzzles without the need of multiple people. The rewards for completing the dungeons are now more than doubled, and you now have one-time rewards additionally for first-time clears, meaning it's absolutely worth running Atoraxxion at least once. The rewards for Sikirkea even include a tier 1 pet, which is nice. Now, world bosses have undergone some changes as well. Every boss will now drop double the amount of auras, hunter seals, and gold bars, and you can now also get a 30 and 40 stack from these world bosses. Garmith has also had her HP increased by 20%, and her drop rate for the heart has been increased by 40%, but it's still one of the lowest drop rate items in the game when it comes to world bosses, so don't expect this to change much. May help the orders on the market, but we'll see. Guild Apprentice members or new members will now be apprentice for only 1 week and can now use guild vendors and set up traps in Node Wars and Sieges. This is a big quality of life change for Node War guilds and a general improvement to the annoying 2-week limit we have at the moment. Animations for alchemy stone growth, polishing, charging, and even T9 attempts are now all skippable. And those are all the changes for the patch this week. I'm happy to see so many changes. We'll see if we continue seeing more balance changes next week. These were a lot, I think even more than even Reboot, but let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, thanks again for watching, thanks for listening. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.